In today's video, we're going to be going over an underlooked opportunity to farm airdrop and yield Legos. Now, this is with ANZEN Finance. And in this video, I'm going to break down what this project is, how you can potentially make money from it, and discuss what I'm doing to play this opportunity. So for starters, what is ANZEN Finance? Basically, it's a new stablecoin protocol. They've launched their stablecoin called USDZ, and this is a real-world asset-backed stablecoin. Now, when we hear this vague terminology, the first question we have to ask is, what is this stablecoin actually backed by? And in the FAQ, we can see that it's backed by private credit securities. Now, private credit securities, what does that mean? Well, it means loans. So this stablecoin is backed by loans. Of course, there's some risk associated with this right off the get-go. So if these private credit securities that are supposedly backing the token end up being, let's say, marked down for bad debt or for some other reason, then of course we could experience a depeg of this token. And in fact, if we look at the chart here, the token has depegged previously. It's depegged all the way down to 95 cents on the dollar. So there is some risk associated with that. Definitely don't recommend using this token to leverage, for example. However, if you're just going to hold it in your wallet, or if you're going to deploy it in a DeFi application where the price isn't going to liquidate you, there's no oracle risk or anything like that, then this is still an interesting opportunity. And as long as you have a longer term time horizon, it looks like it will consistently return to peg unless it turns out that there is a major underlying issue with those securities that back this. Of course, there's also going to be the smart contract risk. Now, they have undergone a series of audits, which is a positive. However, you have to sort of weigh these risks against the size of the opportunity. Now, some things on the more positive side are that ANZEN is backed by Circle, which is the company that controls USDC, which is obviously one of the biggest stable coins in existence, and that's a pretty serious backer. And then in terms of the private credit securities that back this coin, they are underwritten and custodied by some of the major institutions like BlackRock, UBS, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. And then also the minting of the token and the issuance can all be tracked on the blockchain, which of course is solid. So at any time, if you have the technical ability, in theory, you can check out the solvency of USDZ. And if we look at what's backing this token right now, you can see almost 1/3 of the money is in cash or cash equivalent, and then 2/3 or approximately 2/3 is in that credit portfolio. And then in terms of what is in that credit portfolio, they do have a breakdown here into the portfolio details section where you can see what types of products have they actually included. Now, all of this, however, does not mean that this product is 100% secure, so you have to be aware of the risk of black swan events. With the risks firmly established, I do, however, still think that this is an opportunity. So let's talk about that. For starters, they've raised $4 million in seed funding, which is not a massive amount. However, it's a solid starting point. Then aside from that, this project is definitely under-farmed. So they have $67 million in TVL right now. However, it is still relatively easy to rank up the leaderboard. So literally yesterday, about 24 hours ago, I deposited $100, or I minted $100 worth of USDZ. And after that, I am already at rank 8,838 after one day. So you can see it's actually still very, very easy to rank up in this. Of course, at the top end of this, there's going to be some massive whales that we can never catch. However, given the fact that relatively few people are actively farming this, I do think that it is a potential opportunity. If I had to make a comparison, I would say this is like an early under-farmed Athena Finance, although the principles of what's backing these two tokens, these two stable coins, is not exactly the same. Now let's talk about how you can actually farm this one. So for starters, you're going to need to get some USDZ. This token is currently available on a few different networks. I picked some up on the base L2. I actually minted new USDZ from this contract here. If you click buy, you can mint new tokens. However, the cap on that is actually rapidly approaching. So you could either mint some on a different network, or you could just swap into it. They actually have a swaps feature built into this platform that routes through Jumper or LiFi. So you can actually just trade some other token into USDZ. And once you have some, you will already be earning points. So if we go to the dashboard here, you can see that I'm earning points right now. I have literally not done anything with the tokens yet. I'm just holding them in my wallet. And that currently earns a 5x multiplier. Now, beyond that, of course, there's ways to earn more yield on those tokens. and also to earn more points. And in some ways, you have to choose which you prefer. So if you want to stake the tokens, the USDZ, you can go to the stake tab here. This is actually currently only available on Ethereum mainnet. But if you stake your USDZ, you will get SUSDZ in exchange, and this actually earns an APY. And this APY is actually coming from the cash flowing assets that are collateralizing this token. So the different private credit securities that are actually yielding cash on this. And the reason why the APY is quite high for SUSDZ is because all of the yield is going to staked token holders. But if you do the staking option, as we go back to the dashboard here, you can see that you earn far fewer points. By staking your USDZ, you're only getting a 1x multiplier on the points that you earn. So you kind of have to decide, what do you prefer? Do you want to earn a linear yield, that's actually quite solid in the range of 15+%, or do you want to actually try to maximize your points and hope that, that black box of points yield ends up actually being worth more in the end when the token actually drops? Usually, since I'm not a massive whale with, 7 figures of capital parked in this, I tend to go for the black box of the airdrop, which has a higher upside, but also potentially a lower floor. So if you want to try to maximize your points earning, then of course there's other ways that you can do that. If you provide liquidity, there's pretty solid multipliers on that. This is all on Ethereum mainnet, but they do have tons of options on Base, which seems to be the main L2 where a lot of the liquidity is, and really only a few smaller options on the other L2s that are listed. So if you're gonna do this, I recommend probably doing it on Base for the cheap transaction fees and the variety of options. And you can provide liquidity on, Airdrop. And each of these options earns you different multipliers on points, depending on whether you're LPing correlated assets, so USDZ and another stable coin, or if you're LPing non-correlated assets like USDZ and wrapped ETH. Because if you LP here, you do run the risk of impermanent loss. So they compensate you for that with a higher multiplier on points. Actually, it looks like you can get staked USDZ on Base as well, although you cannot mint it on Base. So I think the way that that works actually is some people are bridging it to Base and then setting up an LP pool. And by the way, this bridge here is integrated with Layer 0. So if you actually use their built-in bridge to send USDZ between some of these different networks, then you can actually also be hitting the Layer 0 airdrop. Oh yeah, okay, cool. So if you wanted to get some staked USDZ on Base and earn the yield, you can actually use their built-in swaps feature here to do that. Now you're going to be giving up a lot of the airdrop points, but you'll earn a 15, 16% APY on that, which is pretty solid. Now the only other thing that I wanted to talk about with this before I end the video is this vaults feature. So they just recently launched vaults like a week ago, and this is a way that you can earn a guaranteed APY plus some points multipliers for the airdrop. So if you go to the vaults tab, you'll be able to participate in this. Basically, you're going to have to lock in a deposit to buy USDZ at a discount, and that's going to give you that guaranteed APY. Plus, you do earn 5 to 20x points on your deposits. So you can choose whether you want to do 90 days or longer for this, and obviously, the longer that you lock up for, the more you're going to get. So if I lock up for a year, I'll get a 12% APY on this. Now, personally, I'm not going to be doing that. I just feel like locking anything up for a year in this space is kind of crazy, but the 90-day option is not bad. You get an 8% APY, and this is going to mature in mid-January, which is pretty solid. So actually, let's just go ahead and lock up the 100 USDZ that I've got here. So as I can see, I'm going to get a 5x multiplier on the points and also a guaranteed 8% APY for that. I feel like that's pretty reasonable. So I'm just going to go ahead and purchase or deposit into this vault here. Anyways, yeah, that is the TLDR on ANZEN Finance. I do think that it's a pretty underfarmed opportunity. If they end up going fully linear though, and this is important to say because I know people are gonna be mad if I don't. If they go with a fully linear allocation, doing like what I've done here with $100 is not going to yield much. I'm getting the 8% yield and some on top of that for the airdrop. However, since there's some massive whales that have deposited millions into this protocol, if they go fully linear, it's not going to be ideal. However, if they even have sort of a minimum allocation for smaller people, you know, shrimps or whatever, just not whales, then this is potentially a solid farm because it is still so easy to rank up the leaderboard. Top 8K, 9K with $100 is crazy. So that's it for today's video. Hopefully you found this helpful. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.